The dust of Alara, a small town nestled in the heart of the American Midwest, seemed to cling to everything. It coated the faded red paint of Joe's garage, a place where the scent of motor oil and rusted metal hung heavy in the air. Joe, a man with hands as rough as sandpaper and a heart as soft as the summer breeze, was a fixture in Alara. His grease-stained overalls and perpetually furrowed brow hid a quiet kindness, a trait that had earned him the respect of the entire community. One sweltering afternoon, the bell above the garage door jingled, announcing a visitor. A young boy, no more than 10, wheeled himself in, his brow creased with worry. Beside him stood a woman, her face etched with the weariness of a single mother. The boy's wheelchair, a battered, second-hand contraption, was making a rhythmic clanking noise, each rotation a painful groan. "Mr. Joe," the woman began, her voice strained, "my son, Leo, his wheelchair, it's acting up again. We can't afford another repair right now." Leo, with his bright, intelligent eyes and a smile that could melt glaciers, looked up at Joe with a mixture of hope and resignation. He was a boy who loved the stars, the whir of machinery, and the stories Joe told while fixing cars. He'd often come by the garage, fascinated by the tools and the intricate dance of metal. Joe knelt beside the wheelchair, his calloused fingers tracing the worn metal. "Let's take a look, Leo," he said, his voice a low rumble. "What's giving you trouble?" Leo explained, his voice a soft whisper, how the left wheel was wobbling and the bearings sounded rough. Joe listened patiently, his eyes scanning the chair, noting the worn bearings, the loose bolts, and the general wear and tear of years of use. He knew the cost of repairs would be significant, and the woman's worry was palpable. "It's going to need new bearings, maybe a new wheel," Joe said, his voice gentle. "It'll take a few hours." The woman's face fell. We don't have the money, Mr. Joe. We're already struggling." Joe looked at Leo, whose bright eyes were filled with a quiet understanding beyond his years. He saw the flicker of disappointment, but also the resilience of a child who had learned to adapt. "Don't you worry," Joe said, a smile crinkling the corners of his eyes. "I'll take care of it. No charge." The woman's eyes widened. "Mr. Joe, I can't let you do that." "Consider it a gift," Joe interrupted, his voice firm but kind. "Leo needs his wheels working, and I have the tools and the time. It's the least I can do." And so, Joe set to work. He spent the rest of the afternoon, and well into the evening, meticulously repairing the wheelchair. He replaced the worn bearings, tightened the loose bolts, and even managed to straighten a bent frame piece. He worked with a quiet determination, his hands moving with the practiced precision of a seasoned craftsman. As he worked, he told Leo stories of old engines, of daring road trips, of the stars and the vast expanse of the universe. Leo listened, his eyes shining, his imagination soaring. When Joe finally finished, the wheelchair glided smoothly, the clanking noise replaced by a gentle hum. "Try it out, Leo," Joe said, his voice filled with pride. Leo wheeled himself around the garage, a wide grin spreading across his face. "It's perfect, Mr. Joe. It's like new." The woman, tears welling up in her eyes, thanked Joe profusely. "You've saved us, Mr. Joe. I don't know how we can ever repay you." "Your son's happiness is payment enough," Joe said, his voice gruff but sincere. Weeks passed. Leo's wheelchair hummed smoothly, a testament to Joe's skill and generosity. Leo continued to visit the garage, his enthusiasm for mechanics undiminished. He'd watch Joe work, asking questions, learning the names of tools, and absorbing the wisdom Joe shared. Joe's act of kindness, though seemingly small, had rippled through the community. People spoke of his generosity, his willingness to help those in need. It became a reminder of the simple acts of humanity that could make a world of difference. One quiet Tuesday morning, a sleek black sedan pulled up in front of Joe's garage. A tall, impeccably dressed man stepped out, his eyes scanning the dusty exterior of the garage. He approached Joe, who was working on a vintage truck, his brow furrowed in concentration. "Mr. Joe?" the man asked, his voice smooth and professional. "That's me," Joe replied, wiping his hands on a rag. "My name is Mr. Harrison," the man said, extending a hand. "I'm here on behalf of Mr. Alexander Thorne." Joe raised an eyebrow, puzzled. "Thorne? The tech billionaire?" "The same," Mr. Harrison confirmed. "Mr. Thorne would like to express his gratitude for your kindness towards a young boy named Leo." Joe's brow furrowed. "Leo? What does Mr. Thorne have to do with Leo?" "Mr. Thorne is Leo's grandfather," Mr. Harrison explained. "Leo's mother is his estranged daughter. He recently reconnected with them and learned about your generosity. He was deeply moved." Joe was stunned. He had no idea Leo's grandfather was a man of such immense wealth and influence. He had simply acted out of compassion, without expecting anything in return. "Mr. Thorne would like to offer you a token of his appreciation," Mr. Harrison continued, handing Joe a sealed envelope. Joe hesitated, then took the envelope. He opened it, his eyes widening in disbelief. Inside was a check, a sum that could change Joe's life forever. This is too much," Joe stammered, his voice choked with emotion. "Mr. Thorne insists," Mr. Harrison said. "He believes your kindness deserves to be rewarded." Joe, overwhelmed by the gesture, thanked Mr. Harrison, his voice trembling. He couldn't comprehend the magnitude of the gift, the sheer generosity of a man he had never met. A few weeks later, a low rumble echoed through the quiet streets of Alara. A sleek, silver private jet descended from the sky, landing on the small airstrip on the outskirts of town. The entire town watched in awe as the jet taxied to a stop. From the jet stepped Alexander Thorne, a man with a commanding presence and a warm smile. He was accompanied by Leo and his mother, their faces beaming. Thorne approached Joe's garage, his eyes searching for the man who had shown such kindness to his grandson. Joe, standing beside his vintage truck, watched as Thorne approached. He felt a mix of awe and apprehension, unsure of what to expect. "Mr. Joe," Thorne said, his voice resonant and sincere. "I wanted to thank you in person for what you did for Leo." Joe, still overwhelmed by the unexpected visit, managed a simple, "It was nothing, sir. Just a little repair." "Nothing?" Thorne chuckled. "You gave my grandson his freedom back. You gave him the ability to explore the world, to chase his dreams. That's not nothing, Mr. Joe. That's a gift." Thorne then extended a hand, and Joe, his hand still rough and calloused, shook it firmly. "I've been thinking about your garage, Mr. Joe," Thorne continued, his eyes scanning the dusty interior. "It has character, a history. But it could use an upgrade, don't you think?" Joe nodded, a little confused. "It could, sir. But I'm not complaining." "Well, I am," Thorne said, a mischievous glint in his eyes. "I've decided to invest in your business. I'm going to renovate your garage, equip it with the latest tools and technology. We're going to turn Joe's garage into the best repair shop in the Midwest." Joe was speechless. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. A man of such wealth and influence was offering to transform his humble garage into a state-of-the-art facility. "But, why, sir?" Joe asked, his voice trembling. "Why do this for me?" "Because you deserve it, Mr. Joe," Thorne replied, his voice filled with sincerity. "Because you showed my grandson and my daughter what true kindness is. You reminded me of the importance of humanity, of the power of a simple act of generosity. And because," he paused, looking at Leo, who was beaming with pride, "because you made my grandson happy." The transformation of Joe's garage was swift and spectacular. The old building was renovated, its faded red paint replaced with a vibrant blue. The interior was equipped with the latest diagnostic tools, hydraulic lifts, and a gleaming showroom. Joe's Garage became a beacon of innovation and craftsmanship, attracting customers from miles around.